yogis, thank you so much for being here. Today we are going to do a short little flow to really activate all the muscles in the low back and the butt, right? We're going to do a booty flow. And really it's important. We all want our butts to be toned, right? But it's more than that. We're doing this for health. A lot of times in low back pain is really caused from a weakened low back, really tight hip flexors. It happens because we sit a lot. And when we're seated, as you can see, our hip flexor muscles are engaged, they're shortened, and then our low back muscles are lengthened, right? And what that does is kind of pull the body into flexion. And the low back muscles, when they're not strong enough, sometimes the invertebral discs kind of start to like poke out the back, poke out the side, pushing on the sciatic nerve, pushing on things that shouldn't be pushed on, causing pain. So there is a much bigger reason to strengthen the low back muscles and the butt muscles other than having a toned booty. So let's go ahead and get started. Just roll out your mat, maybe get a little pad if you want. Let's lie on our backs. So from here, just walk your feet back towards your hips. We want our feet to be about hips width apart. Just send your hands to the earth, palms face up. Just start by deepening the breath and feeling the breath. Inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the nose. It's really, really important to breathe as we do these movements. So from here, just start to tilt the pelvic floor towards the ceiling or towards the sky if you're outside like me. See if you can just isolate the sacrum. Lift the sacrum first, just like the butt. And then see if you can roll up just a little bit more, lift the low back. And then lift the upper back. Good. And then on the exhale, we're going to release the upper back first. Release the mid back, the low back, and then let the butt touch last. So inhale, slow controlled roll. Lift the butt, the low back, mid back, upper back, and then exhale, release the upper back, the mid back, low back, hips. Good. Inhale. See if you can lift vertebra by vertebra, inch by inch, till your chest is the last thing to lift. And then exhale, slow and controlled roll back down. Good. We'll take about 3 more. Inhale. Notice if your legs are kind of moving around a little bit. See if you can move a little slower to isolate those muscles in the low back. And really see if you can hug the midline here. 2 more. Just inch by inch. Notice if there's anywhere in the spine that becomes a little less controlled than the other. No judgment, just taking in information about the body. It's always good as long as there's no judgment involved. Let your hips touch last. Draw your knees to your chest and just rock a little side to side. Take some big circles at the knees. And then move those circles in the other direction. Good. And then from here, send your left foot to the earth. We're going to stack our right ankle on top of our left thigh. Make sure that you're kicking through the right heel and drawing your toes towards your knee, so that will protect the knee here. And then from here, you can use your hand and just kind of encourage that right knee out wide. Again, make sure you're flexing the foot. Send the palms to the earth. We'll move through 5 more. On the inhale, lift the hips. And then on the exhale, release. Vertebra by vertebra, inch by inch. Keep these really controlled movements. Inhale, hips lift. And exhale, hips drop. We should feel a really nice opening in the hip flexor here. Inhale. And exhale. Good. 2 more. Inhale. And exhale. Good. Last one. Breathe in. And breathe out. Good. From here, we're going to let our knees fall to the left. Send your right arm out wide. So we're taking a spinal twist here. With your right leg stacked on top of your left thigh, it might feel like too much, and that's okay if it does. If that's the case though, just uncross your legs and just stack your right leg on top of your left leg. Really, it's just about exploring the body and doing something that your body says yes to. It doesn't have to look like exactly what I'm doing. Everyone should look different. Our bodies are all products of a lifetime thus far. We all have different lives. Good. And then from here, we're going to move to fetal position on the left side. So I'm going to turn so I can still see you. Good. And then on the left side, just go ahead and stack your left head or your head in your left hand. If this is uncomfortable, you can always just rest your hand right on your upper arm here. Keep your bottom knee bent and then kick your right leg out in front of you. And then look down, make sure your ankle is in the same line with your knee, with your hip, with your shoulder. So we want one long line from the crown of our head all the way to the right heel. You can place your hand on the earth in front of you if you need to. And then on the inhale, lift your right leg. And then exhale, slowly drop. Inhale, lift your hip, lift your leg, and then exhale, drop. Inhale, lift. And then exhale, drop. So just follow your own breath. And the faster you move, the more you'll encourage circulation in the body, the more heat will be built. The slower you move, the more isolated your muscle engagement will be. So when you move slower, it helps to build muscles to keep the spine stable, to keep the hips stable, to keep the low back stable. Really, really important. Just as important as encouraging that circulation in the body. So fast movements or slow movements, whatever your body's needing right now. And then take a look down at your heel. Notice if your foot's like way out in front of your hip. See if you can just draw it back so it's in that one long line, shoulder, hip, heel. And then we're going to turn this into some bicycles. So drop your heel so it's in that same height as your shoulder. And then draw your knee to your chest. Kick your foot out in front of you. Yeah, and then kick it that way. All right, you guys got it. Bicycles. Draw your knee to your chest. Kick through the heel, then straighten out that left leg. Good. Bend into the knee. Just follow that motion. So from here, start to notice if your knee's starting to drop lower than your hip, or your toes starting to drop lower than your hip. See if you can keep everything in that one long line. And then same thing with your toe. Notice if your toe is like sinking towards the earth or maybe even turning upward. See if you can keep your toe kicking right out in front of you. So we're just staying in that one plane. Good. And just take a couple more breaths. Make sure you're breathing through all of this. Most important part of all. Good. And then from here, we'll move in the other direction. So with a bent knee to the chest, we're gonna kick our foot out like towards the heel and then draw our foot out in front of our chest, bend into the knee, kick your foot towards your front of your mat, right? Good. And then just follow this movement. We're just riding the bicycle backward. See if you can maintain everything in that one single plane. Good. 5, 4, 3, keep kicking through the ball of the foot, 2, and 1. Good. Bend into your right knee. We're just going to come to a half frog pose. So walk your right heel about as wide as your right knee and just lay on your belly. So a lot of times people sleep like this at night. It'll just be a gentle release on the hip, on the piriformis muscle. Just a couple breaths. And then notice if your heart's beating fast, your breath's beating fast. All observations are good observations as long as they do not have those attachments. When we observe the body without creating labels, without creating a bad side label or a good side label, this is information that leads to learning and change. Once we create labels like bad side, good side, then we're really just limiting our ability to change. If we have a bad side, how are we going to turn it into something good, right? So no labels, just observations. Good. Walk your hands under your shoulders, send your right knee back behind you, make your way to tabletop. So we want our hands under our shoulders, our knees under our hips. From here we're going to kick our right heel towards the ceiling and then pulse. We're really just focusing on this right glute first. Good. So we're just lifting our heel about an inch at a time and then dropping. Really trying to isolate those muscles. Ooh, I guess I won't reach back there. In the glutes, in the low back. All these muscles that we're feeling being built in the low back and the back of our leg, these are the muscles that we want to build to protect the low back, to protect those invertebral discs from scooting out. Good. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Kick your right foot back behind you. Take a big inhale through the nose. And then on the exhale, draw your knee to your nose, engage the core. Good. Inhale, kick your right leg back behind you. And exhale, draw your knee to your right elbow. Inhale. Exhale, left elbow. Inhale. Exhale, right elbow. Inhale. Exhale, nose. Inhale. Exhale, left elbow. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, right elbow. Inhale. Exhale, nose. Good. Follow your own breath here. And again, notice if your body kind of just starts flopping around a little. If you lose control of what you're doing with that back leg and you feel your body swaying or your hands or your arms engaged, just see if you can slow down. If you need to stop early, stop early. Good, just a couple more. Breathe for 3, for 2, and 1. Good, send your right leg back. Reach your left hand out in front of you, and then reach around, see if you can grab the inside of your right foot, kick your foot into your hand. Ardha Dhanurasana, half bow pose. So it's the strength of your right leg that's pulling your left shoulder away from your ear. This should feel like a nice heart opener. 3, 2, 1. Send everything back to the earth. Good. From here, just bend into your knees, send your hips back, child's pose. Good. You start to rock a little. Releasing the low back. Good. Walk your hands to your low back. Stack your shoulders over your hips. Squeeze your elbows towards each other. Squeeze the butt. Squeeze the glutes. Send the hips forward. Lift the gaze. Lift the heart. We call this Ustrasana, camel pose. It's more about opening the front of the body than getting the head close to the heels, right? See if you can keep the glutes nice and engaged and stretch the front, right? These front hip flexor muscles, the psoas, these are the ones that get really tight when we sit and always want to pull that body into flexion. If we're lengthening them, if we're strengthening the butt, we're resetting the flow of energy through the hips. We're helping our body find that balance. Good. 2 more full breaths. And come up through center. Good. Inhale, sweep the palms high. Exhale, draw your palms to your heart. Good. Send your hands to the earth. Just cross your legs behind you. Make your way to a seat. Okay. Cross the right leg in front of the left leg. Get the feet stacked underneath the knees. Just take about 5 breaths here. Inhale, palm sweep high. And then exhale, hinge forward. Right, we want to feel this in the outside of our right glute and our left glute. We feel it in both glutes. This is the piriformis muscle. Right, we're looking for glute toning, but also this is about low back health. So stretching those piriformis muscles are really important. Sometimes they can impinge the sciatic nerve, causing pain in the low back or the legs. And then walk your hands back to your shins. Good. Send the soles of your feet to the earth. Just start to roll back. Good. And roll back vertebra by vertebra. Good. Allow your shoulders to touch last. Walk your heels back towards your hips. Tilt the pelvic floor towards the ceiling. Those slow and controlled bridge poses will just take about 5. On the exhale, release. Upper back, mid back, low back. Inhale, roll the pelvic floor towards the ceiling. Inch by inch, vertebra by vertebra. And then slowly release. Good. 3 more. Follow your own breath. See if you can keep the glutes holding a lot of your weight. The more we squeeze those glutes, the higher your hips will be able to get. That's not what it's about, right? It's just about finding range of motion in the body. And then drop your hips to the earth. From here, stack your left ankle, your left on top of your right thigh. Again, make sure you're flexing through the foot. So we're drawing the toes towards the knee, kicking the heel towards the right. You can send your left hand to your left knee. Just kind of encourage that knee out a little bit wider. And then 5 3-legged bridge pose. Inhale, hips lift. And exhale, hips drop. Make sure you're flexing through the foot. Inhale. And exhale. Move a little slower if you start to feel yourself flopping around or losing control. Inhale. Exhale. Good. 2 more. Just follow your own breath. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the nose. Good. Let your knees fall to the right. Send your left arm out wide. Find a twist that your body says yes to. It's about 5 full breaths. And then we'll roll onto our right side body. Good. Again, so draw your knees to bend. You can prop your head up in your hand or you can rest it on your tricep. We're going to send that left leg out in front of us and then just look down at that heel. Make sure you're in that one long line. Make sure your foot's not lower than your hip, higher than your hip. Good. All in one line. On the inhale, lift your heel. On the exhale, slowly drop. Good. Inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, slowly drop. Good. Follow your own breath here. Look down at the toes. Notice if they're turning upward. Good. Energy flows through the body and it really loves nice and sharp, crisp lines. So the more we can find length on the planes of our bodies, the easier it is for that energy to flow. And as long as we're doing these movements and doing these exercises, as long as we're breathing, as long as we're allowing that energy to flow, our body is memorizing these movements, right? Storing this information as something to move energy through. And this is full healthcare. That's how it's full healthcare. Good. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. Draw the heel to the same height as the hip. And then we'll take those bicycles. Draw your knee to your chest. Kick your foot out in front of you. And then kick your foot to the front of your mat. There we go. Bend into your knee. Good. Just follow your own breath. Make sure everything stays the same height as your knee, as your hip. Make sure the toe is pointing out in front of you. It's so funny. Every time I start counting during these movements, I think, it was probably a few months ago. I always take requests at the beginning of my yoga classes, the beginning of my Yogalates classes as well. And one time I was taking a request and someone raised their hand and they were like, "My request is you count faster." And that's always stuck with me. Good. Am I gonna count faster? I don't know, probably not. But we slow down the breath, slow down the mind, slow down the counting. It just teaches us to slow down a little bit, isolate those muscles. 3, 2, and 1. We'll reverse, ride the bike backwards. So kick the foot out in front of you with a straight leg, kick in front of you, and then bend into the knee. You guys got it. Stay in that same plane. And continue breathing. Good. 5, 4, here we go, slow counting. 3, 2, and last one. 1. Good. Bend into your knee. We'll find that half frog pose. Good. Rest on your belly. So we want to just feel like a really, really gentle opening in the front of the hip flexor. A nice little compression, just starting to awaken that piriformis muscle. Just about 3 more full breaths, just taking a moment to observe the body. Good. Send the hands under the shoulders. Draw that left knee under the hip. Good. We'll kick our left heel towards the ceiling. And again, just pulse. Same thing, we're looking for our leg to stay in this one plane. If your knee starts flapping, if your body starts flapping, just slow it down. Good. Your gaze can be right at the front of your mat. Right, and if you're not using a mat, like 2 feet or a foot in front of your fingertips. So really what we're trying to do is lengthen through the crown of the head. If it feels really good to lift your gaze forward and compress the back of your neck and open the front of your neck, that's okay too. Really, it's more about listening to the body and finding something that feels good. But generally speaking, we want to extend the crown of the head towards the front of the room. So there's a gentle, gentle tucking of the chin. Good. 3, 2, and 1. Send that left leg back behind you. Inhale. Exhale, draw your knee to your nose. Inhale, left leg kicks back. Exhale, left elbow. Good. Inhale. Exhale, right elbow. And then follow your breath. This should feel like a front core workout as well as a back core workout, right? So sometimes when we hear core muscles, we just think of the rectus abdominal muscles, the ones like that create the 6-pack. But really the core is all of the muscles that surround the spine, from top to bottom, front to back. So this is just kind of working out the front and the back. Good. Let's take a couple more. 3, 2, and 1. Good. Send your left knee down. Walk your big toes to touch. Find child's pose. Just a couple breaths. And then walk the hands back to the knees. Make sure the knees are about hips distance. Send your hands to your low back. Squeeze the elbows towards each other. Squeeze the butt. Send the hips forward. Lift the gaze, lift the heart. So if you'd like to go deeper, if you have full Ustrasana camel pose, you're welcome to just reach back for your heels here. right? And then if your heels feel kind of far away but you want to explore, tuck your toes, elevate your heels a little bit, and then reach down for those heels. Again, allow this to be a front body opener more than getting that head close to the earth. Couple more breaths. Slowly come up through center. Good, send your hands to the earth. Cross your legs behind you. This time we're gonna send our left leg in front of our right leg. Make sure those feet are directly under the knees. On the inhale, palm sweep high, gaze lifts. On the exhale, forward fold. 5 breaths. Walk your hands back to your shins. Good, yogis. So we have found a point in our practice where you have the opportunity to lie on your back, take a short shavasana. You have the opportunity to start this over and run through this a couple more times. Your glutes can handle it, most definitely. Or if you'd like to end in a yin posture, I will recommend one for the low back. Again, this yin posture that I'm going to walk you through is meant to lengthen the front of the hips, lengthen the psoas, and then find a gentle compression in the low back just to help those invertebral discs get back into their space, to help reset the balance of the hips. Lengthen the front, shorten the back, as opposed to shortening the front in a seat and lengthening the low back. Good. So if we're taking that yin posture, go ahead and just grab a block, a bolster, maybe a pillow from your couch. Right now I just have my yogi rug. A friend gave this to me actually, and I love this so much. It's so pretty. I rarely use it, but when I practice outside, I love using it. There's something really special. So you can roll it up. I'll just double fold this to give me a little bit more height. This is nice and cushiony. We're gonna take a supported bridge pose. So just lie on your back. See if you can get your blanket, your bolster, your pillow right under your sacrum. So again, the sacrum is that flat bone that's right above the gluteal crease. We know it better as the butt crack, right? So right above the crack. Go ahead and lie back. Walk your feet out in front of you. Let your toes fall out wide. Turn your palms up. Let your shoulders rest heavy. Good. And we'll go ahead and hold this for as long as you'd like, really. This posture is safe to hold for up to 10 minutes. It's mostly about listening to the body. If your body says come out early, come out early. If you don't hold this yin posture often, I would recommend trying it for no more than 2 minutes at a time, maybe up to 4. Good. If you're holding this for longer, set a timer, get cozy. I hope you enjoyed your booty workout. Namaste, yoga.